Good morning. This is Susie Luna Saldana with Tea Time. Welcome back to Tea Time. I told you we would be coming back to you whenever we had information that pertained to the community. So we've got something going on in our community that is supposed to be very, very, very important because it concerns our children and it concerns a school district right within the boundaries of Corpus Christi and the surrounding area. That's London ISD. I put on our focus is racism running rampant in London ISD, and that's the question we have. We have with us Gamby Gamboa from the Civil Rights group of LULAC Council Number 1, of which I'm a proud member of course. And would you like to tell people what your name is?
My name is Candy Ortega, and my son and my daughter both attend London High School.
Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about what's going on in London because Ms. Ortega has tried to get some resolution through the process that they have. And according to them, and last night, she hasn't filed a grievance. Although she's gone through all of the procedures that are required on policy, teacher, principal, superintendent, she's still being told that she hasn't followed procedures. And it's real hard to get things going, but I want to get to the nitty-gritty of what is the problem going on. And it's scary. It really is scary to know that this close to home, you know, a lot of people say, oh, God, Susie, you're thinking about all these people that are discriminating because of Trump and the issue of Trump and all of these other things that are going on. But let me tell you, this isn't about Trump. It may be a product of what he has gone through, but this is actually happening in our school district. If you'll pass that on to me, I'd love to have it because one of the things that's going on is we're worried. We're worried about our kids. Ms. Ortega, please tell me what your problem is in London.
The problem is that my son and another youngster were racially discriminated against. They were called wetbacks, they were called beaners, and they were told to get on their donkeys and go back to Mexico. We talked to the principal about the situation, and she did minimal to fix the problem. What she did was she addressed the whole class and told them that it wouldn't be tolerated. Then that same bully proceeded to retaliate because my son spoke up, and he was harassed. And then we brought it to the principal's attention again, to which she tried to mediate the situation by bringing both gentlemen in. That didn't work in that conference. She told my son that he needed to get thicker skin because this was going to happen to him for the rest of his life. She also justified that this, because the young man admitted to saying all these things and was proud of saying all these things. So the principal justifies that when he meant the term beaners, that he was talking about Arabs and not Mexicans. And he goes on to tell him that...
So she justified his behavior?
Yes, absolutely. Yes. She sided with the bully, and my son, who was the victim of all this, was the one that received all of the punishment.
Okay, well, kind of help me along, because if she's allowing him, is she Anglo, is she Hispanic?
She's Anglo.
She's Anglo, okay.
Yes.
And I have no problem with you telling me the name of the principal. What is the name of the principal?
Rebecca Hitchcock.
Rebecca Hitchcock. Okay, so you went to Rebecca, you asked her for a resolution.
Yes.
Was there an investigation conducted?
After the first incident, we never heard back from the principal saying, you know, I addressed the class. After the incident occurred in the library where he was harassed, there were adults present during that altercation, and nobody intervened, and they all pretended that they didn't hear anything. The principal, again, that was when she mediated with both young men. So we never received any final investigation from her. We didn't like the resolution, especially after she sided with the bully. So we took it to the superintendent. And we met with the superintendent, and the superintendent said that he was disgusted and he knew nothing of the situation, but that he wanted the situation rectified. He asked us if we would meet with the parents of the bully to try to resolve it. We agreed. We said, yes, absolutely, we'd like to meet with the parents. The parents refused to meet with us. So we told them that we were disappointed. And so he kicked it back to Principal Hitchcock and said that she would conduct a final investigation and that we would receive notice of that investigation. And if we didn't like the filings of that investigation, that we could pursue it further. So that's where Mr. Gambo and I, February 12th, went in front of the school board, and we did speak to the school board because we didn't like what her final investigation said. Because her final investigation made my son the one with the problem. My son was the one that was going to have to be removed from class.
Now, if I remember correctly, your son is a little boy. Well, he's not a little boy. He's a young man. He's going to graduate. He's a senior.
Right.
He can't weigh more than 90 pounds.
No, he doesn't.
He can't weigh more than 90 pounds. I mean,
he's a very small child. Yes, he is. He is. And the young man that's been bothering him is twice his size.
Okay. Now, Gambi, how did Council 1 get involved in this issue?
Well, when it comes to bullying, when it comes that the school system or principal are not answering to the problem of bullying or discrimination, and here's what's strange. The school board, you got a DPS on the board, a DPS guy,
Mm-hmm.
and he's turning it a deaf ear, with all that's going on and the bullying, intimidation. I addressed to them that if there's a Columbine situation in the next 24 months, that him and everybody else are gonna be their fault.
Well, let's talk about that, Gambi, because you say Columbine. Columbine is a place where there was a shooting of students and everything else that happened. What would make you think that this child that's the bully would go that far? I mean, is there things that he said? Is there things that he's done?
He brags around school that he kills rabbits and cats and dissects them so everybody can see. That he brags that he goes around to construction sites in the area and takes things that are gonna hurt people doing the construction sites.
Okay, well, wait a minute. This is something that this child has said to others?
Yes, and that's the reason he has a following. Because he is telling them that if he can kill animals and dissect them, everybody else, a human person is nothing to him. But the worst part about the whole situation, he tells them, okay, the ones that are around him or the ones that have his kind of thinking, that he goes to all the construction sites within his reach and takes out construction material or something that's gonna cause a fatality.
Well, let me ask you, Ms. Ortega, who do we know that's actually heard him say that?
Well, my son said that he's heard it, that it's been rumored that that's what he does.
Well, rumors are one thing. Has he actually heard him say those things?
That I don't know. I've never actually asked him. I know that prior to this incident, just in discussion, he had said that he had heard that, he would torment cats or shoot them he would drive around and shoot them with a BB gun. And I just kind of thought to myself, this kid
that's a reason to be worried. It's a reason to be worried about your son, but it's also a reason to be worried about the bully.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Yes.
There is something wrong. Now, we can't say for a fact that these are rumors and allegations, so we make sure that you understand that these are rumors and allegations that have come to pass. Although there's been some follow-up done, as I understand, and in that area there have been problems with signs being moved around in construction companies and things like that being done, but we can't attribute them to this child because we don't know for sure if that's what's happened or not. But there is an incident that you documented and videotaped.
Yes.
Can you tell me about that?
Oh, this happened 2 days ago. We were coming from picking up our daughter, and
London is one big facility, right?
yes, they are.
You've got elementary, middle school, and high school.
Correct.
Together.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And it was between 4 and 4:30. We were picking up our daughter, and we were coming down Weber, heading towards town. And we got to about Yorktown and Weber, and my daughter noticed that the bully and his brother were next to us in the vehicle, and they proceeded to start to shout at us and roll down the window, and my daughter was terrified. She was afraid. She was scared, and they proceeded to follow us and almost seemed as if they were coming close. They were trying to keep up with me in traffic. I would speed up just a little bit, and they would speed up with me. I would slow down just a little bit, and they would slow down with me. And they were shouting at us, and I kept my windows rolled up because I didn't want to engage with them. My daughter was scared. My husband was upset. And then they just veered off, and they went down way out Weber. They just pulled off the road.
But you videotaped them doing
I
this.
did. Well, my daughter thought to videotape, and she got a clip of it, yes, where you can clearly see them peering out the window and staring, yes.
So this is going a little bit further than just the regular bullying in school.
Yes,
It's going a little bit further than that.
I believe
And
so.
as
Yes.
I understand it, your son is a senior,
Yes, he is.
so he'll be out of there in May, but you have concerns because you have another child going there, right?
I do, yes. I do, and the bully's brother and my daughter are in classes together.
Okay, so what we want to know is, if this is going on, what did the president of that board tell you? Were they going to look into it? Was there an investigation going on? I know that when you speak in audience section, they don't respond to you. That's the law. They just have to listen. But the
Right.
majority of the time when something this serious comes along, in any of the school districts that I represent and go to, the board president will tell the superintendent, can you talk to them, get with them, see what's going on? Was there anything like that going on between the board president and you all?
Well, when I spoke up in public forum, actually there was a school board member that tried to get it on the agenda and tried to get it to be discussed. He was shot down and said that we would discuss in a public forum, which was fine. So I spoke and I read my statement of everything that had transpired up until meeting with the superintendent and the investigation. And then they looked up at me and said, okay, next. So then Mr. Gamboa got up and they spoke, and they didn't really seem to acknowledge him much. I did hear that it did get discussed behind closed doors, and again, it was shot down. That's where I heard that it was, that they were putting the blame on my son and saying that my son was the aggressor and that he was lying and that he wasn't innocent in the situation. That's where I also heard that I did not follow proper protocol, so to them, they weren't even going to acknowledge the situation.
Okay, so what we're hearing about is rumors, because we know that anything discussed in closed session can be discussed with anybody else because it's against the law. But however, the idea that the parents have not followed through with procedures is not quite right. They have. The only thing I believe you lack is filing a grievance.
Correct. Yes.
And you're getting ready to do that, correct?
Yes, yes, yes. We have all the paperwork to file the grievance, yes.
Okay, so what we need the community to know is that, one, the child that's being bullied, the family has been here for decades, right?
As far as I know, yes.
Okay, so we've got a family that's been here for decades. We're talking about Mexican-American children, and the majority of London, as I understand, is Hispanic, right?
It's equal, actually. We went at the school board meeting. They brought up the figures,
The
and
figures.
it's pretty close. There's enough Anglos as there are minorities.
Okay, so we've got an equal footing on that. But if you allow one student